we were about to file. This is before the South Carolina Supreme Court. This is the ACLJ filing on behalf of our attorneys. I know my name's on there, your name is on there, and others from the American Center for Law and Justice. We are representing, what's unique here is that we are representing all Republican members of the South Carolina congressional delegation. So the two Democrats would not join on to this because this is a teachers union backed lawsuit.
So the legislation that the governor has, which is called the GEAR Act, which is Governor's Emergency Education Relief, is used to benefit students, which we've argued from the outset of this when we started doing these school cases, knowing that we're in the middle of this pandemic, that we really needed to get help to students. Our argument was that it had to be student-focused, and that's exactly what the GEAR Act does. On top of that, the Supreme Court has just ruled that when it comes to the school choice options, excluding religious schools would be a form, or private schools would be a form of discrimination. So the governor had the clear authority. It was congressional intent, and now it's before the South Carolina Supreme Court, where we're representing, as Jordan just said, the delegation from South Carolina that is trying to get benefits to the students.
Someone who was critical in our effort to put together this brief, he helped work with us to put together not just him to join the brief in support of South Carolina's governor's decision to expand the voucher program there during the pandemic when he received CARE funds, and to use some of those funds were allocated to the governor specifically. He wanted to then use some of those funds for vouchers. Congressman Jeff Duncan said, you know what, I want to file, because this got challenged by the teachers unions, the public school unions, against the governor. I want to file a brief, but I don't want to do it just with me. I'm going to put together the entire congressional delegation from South Carolina.
This was progressive Senator Brad Hutto filing the injunction down there in Orangeburg County to try to stop the governor from using his discretion, which these funds in the GEAR part of the CARES Act allowed the governors to have discretion to best meet the needs of its constituents. And Governor McMaster used discretionary funds under GEAR, the governor's discretion in this, $32 million that he is putting forth that parents can tap into for $6,500, up to $6,500 for a grant for their children.
Unfortunately, the two Democrats in South Carolina at the House level would not join. Would have been great if they did for school choice, because this shouldn't be so partisan an issue during a pandemic.
In order to be eligible for the SAFE grant, a student must be from a household with an adjusted gross income of 300% or less of the federal poverty level. And we're talking about kids that currently don't have any ability to make a choice because probably they don't have the income ability within the household to send a child to a private school, parochial school, or whatnot. This is one way to approach giving these children and their parents a choice for their educational options.
What I'm so encouraged about is that the legislation that passed Congress over the years has always been, and especially the most recent ones, the CARES Act, have always focused on the students. And that's really who the beneficiary here of this allocation is. It's the students. And it's so ironic that the teachers unions and those on the left would be fighting against, really, Congressman, the students here.
Every student learns differently. We all know that. And Governor McMaster is ensuring that every student has now the opportunity to grow and develop in a way that best suits them and their families. The CARES Act allowed the governor in each state to have an opportunity to spend this money how they want to. And Governor McMaster decided to put some of it, $32 million, towards school choice when public education got almost $1 billion. But yet they're going to scream about $32 million.
South Carolina is making the funds available for the parents to make the choice. It's not South Carolina saying, hey, we want to fund only religious schools. That's not what's happening here. And yet we see how opposed these teachers unions are. They want to stop kids from getting a chance at better learning during this tough time.
There are parents across the state that have economic ability to make the choice for their children, but there are too many parents across South Carolina that cannot make a choice to get their child out of peer pressure for drugs, sex, alcohol, whatever, get into a better learning environment where they can learn the skills that are necessary for their future. That's what parents want to do. They want to have a choice for their children. This particular issue, the SAFE grant program, gives them a choice at this time, especially when the choices are more and more limited because of COVID.
Thank you for putting together that delegation so we could represent all of you before South Carolina's highest court.